Hey, in my last video, I went through my horror and sci-fi collection that were all on Blu-ray or 4K. In this video, I wanted to share my more obscure media format collection. The first being DVDs, which is kind of obvious, but some people, it's debatable whether they're obscure media or not yet. My DVD collection has gotten quite small as I've been upgrading movies that I really love to Blu-ray or 4K. But there's still some good ones in there, ones I've hung on to because they're rare special editions or they have sentimental or nostalgic value to me. I also want to go through LaserDiscs, VHS, I have a handful of those still, and then finally VideoDiscs, media format not very many people talk about. I didn't know about them until I accidentally ran into them at a flea market once, 10 years ago. So anyways, let's start taking a look. All right, so here's what's left of my DVD shelf. Now, we won't waste too much time on the non-horror / sci-fi stuff, but all the HBO collections, so many good shows on HBO. I won't touch on any of these. I'll just kind of show them, except for The Corner. No one talks about this, but if you're a fan of The Wire, David Simon, this was the first thing he did for HBO, a little mini-series about Baltimore in the 90s, I want to say, and the drug trade there. Super interesting. If you're a Wire fan, you will see some familiar characters in this. Highly recommend it. It's great if you haven't seen it. Also, True Detective Season 1. This was so good. This is... I'd say this is horror. Okay. Don't ask about these. Some documentaries. Man, if you're into graffiti, these are all graffiti documentaries. If you're into graffiti and you haven't seen Style Wars, oh man. 80s New York. So this is so iconic. So much good stuff in this. Check that out if you have any interest in graffiti at all. Dark Days I have to touch on, not horror. It's actually a documentary from the mid-90s, shot in black and white, scored by DJ Shadow. If you're into hip-hop, trip-hop. This is about the people in New York City who lived in the abandoned subway tunnels. Unhoused people living in the abandoned Amtrak subway tunnels, train tunnels. It's fascinating and it's dark. Ghostbusters 1 and 2, love the original. The second one is okay, but you have to have it. Gremlins 2, classic. Let's see, what else do we have that we'll touch on? Zodiac, amazing. David Fincher, so good. Check that out if you haven't. Apocalypto, not horror, but man, is this movie amazing. So good. About the Mayans. And it's a revenge / chase film. Really, really good. The only movie I ever saw in the theater and went back the next night and made my brother go with me to watch it again. Bad Taste. This is, I've hung on to because it's super rare. Anchor Bay. If I had to collect DVDs, there's a little menu. If I had to continue to collect DVDs, or if I had the space, I would collect Anchor Bay. They were kind of the pinnacle of horror and obscure movie releases in the early days of DVDs, and they did special features. They were like the original boutique label, in my opinion. I don't know if that's controversial or not. The Abyss, kind of horror. James Cameron, great movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Hellboy, kind of horror adjacent. All right, Tales from the Crypt. I think this is all the seasons, 1 through 7. This was a horror, I guess, short. series on HBO in the 90s, maybe late 80s, early 90s, based off the EC comics of the 50s with the Crypt Keeper, which he was my favorite part of Tales from the Crypt, if I'm being honest. A lot of cool first-time appearances and early appearances by famous actors on these. They're fun. They're not great. You know, obviously the production budgets weren't huge for this show, but there's definitely some great ones. There's Demi Moore. Ooh, The Substance. She was so good, and she looks so good still. I don't know. We'll put that back later. Trying to go fairly fast here. Some more. Yeah, that's the mom from National Lampoons, isn't it? 5. John Stamos. These are fun. John Lithgow. You'll see some familiar faces in these. Hey, Bond. What's that? Daniel Craig. Oh, and is that? And Ewan McGregor, it looks like. Okay, 80s, obscure 80s Sunday afternoon episodic horror anthology show, Tales from the Dark Side. This is almost, man, I got these on Amazon years ago, and they almost feel bootleg. You know, there was another one on Fox on Sundays in the 80s called Werewolf. I think it was just called Werewolf. And I loved it. And the werewolf looked so cool. That needs a DVD release. Maybe it has one. I haven't checked in years, but I'd love to see how that holds up. Probably not very well, but Tales from the Dark Side, this is the same vein as Tales from the Crypt. There's some decent ones. Nightmare on Elm Street, all of them. Well, is that all of them? Doesn't have Freddy versus Joe. It does have Freddy versus Jason. There you go. These are just now, I think, getting 4K releases, so I will upgrade this eventually. I don't know why I hung on to this. I have the Friday the 13th collection, the Scream Factory box set. I guess I really liked this release, and I just haven't gotten rid of it yet. Night of the Living Dead, the 90s remake. I think Tom Savini. Definitely worth checking out. Not a lot of people talk about this one, but it's good. Return of the Living Dead with the glow-in-the-dark cover art. This is a classic. I need to upgrade this. I just haven't been able to yet. I haven't found it. Dawn of the Dead. George Romero zombie movie in the mall. Really cool. And this is at Anchor Bay. Haven't upgraded that yet. Day of the Dead. I think I have upgraded this, and this has always bothered me. It's backwards. I've upgraded this to Blu-ray, but it's Anchor Bay. And I just kind of like this die-cut cover. It's got the little book that looks like a notepad, 2-disc, so I've hung on to it. The Dawn of the Dead and Land of the Dead double feature. George Romero, Land of the Dead. I love it. I think it's so good. I know a lot of people don't think it's great, and I'm going to say something controversial. It's my favorite of his zombie movies. I really like it. It's one of the zombie movies that got me back into horror. Also, fittingly, Dawn of the Dead, the remake. Zack Snyder, not a big fan of him, but man, the Dawn of the Dead remake was done right. I like it. They really got me back into horror in the early 2000s. Shriek Show. I don't know if people remember this, but this was another crappy releases, but they released a lot of movies that never made it past VHS. The Italian unofficial sequel to Dawn of the Dead, or fourth installment in the Dawn of the Dead series unofficially. Oh, and I have them backwards. Another Shriek Show, Zombie 3, Lucio Fulci. These aren't good. They're just funny. You put them on and laugh at them because they make no sense. And Diamond Entertainment. They had some obscure releases too. Again, crappy, bare bones releases. Lucio Fulci's House by the Cemetery. I have not found an upgrade of this yet, so I've hung on to it. Blue Underground, another one right next to Anchor Bay. That did good releases, actually. City of the Living Dead, Lucio Fulci again, the Gates of Hell, part of the Gates of Hell trilogy. This is a cool one. I have not upgraded this. Hell of the Living Dead, Bruno Mattei, the King of the Ripoffs. This is not good, but it's funny. Now we got a few Anchor Bays in a row here. Nightmare City, also known as, what's the alternate title of this? I don't remember. That cover art is so cool. This is Italian, and it's bizarre. We got the Evil Dead trilogy. Evil Dead 1. Evil Dead 2. So good. And Army of Darkness. One of the 1,000 different release versions of this movie. More Peter Jackson, Dead Alive. This I don't know if I should check. I don't know if this is still hard to come by or not, but amazing horror movie, offbeat Kiwi style horror, really good. Fright Night. This, I have no excuse to not have upgraded this yet, but I have not. Great vampire movie, 80s. Check it out if you have not seen that. Reanimator sequel. I think this is the third one. There's Reanimator, Beyond Reanimator, and this. And who did this? Brian Usna, of course. Is Stuart Gordon part of this? I don't know. The Unborn 2. I think this is really cheesy. There you can see the the mutant baby. It's fun. Most of these are fun, and and fairly obscure, so I haven't gotten rid of them. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, starring Dennis Hopper. This is such a departure from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is so strange. Tobe Hooper, again. Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2 double feature. This is cool. I should upgrade these, but I like these Massacre collection. I kind of like these. This is a newer Anchor Bay release. Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and 2. Man, oh man. The first one is cool. The second one is iconic at this point. Basically, they shot maybe half an hour of new footage and replayed the movie, the original, as a flashback. Yeah. My Bloody Valentine, the early 2000s remake, I want to say, with the 3D glasses in there. This is so much fun. If you can watch this in 3D, man, I really recommend this. It's cheesy, but the effects are amazing. The 3D is so good. This is worth checking out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's pretty grindhousey. It's not my favorite. The steelbook's cool. Ooh, this I just upgraded. I just got this on Blu-ray, so I can get rid of this. But man, Lost Boys, 80s, or maybe early 90s. Vampire movie, amazing. Jason Patric, Kiefer Sutherland, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman. Great cast. It's funny. It's, when I was a teenager or preteen, it scared me. Monster Squad. Who is it? Fred Decker and Shane Black. Iconic names in action and comedy in the 80s. This movie is amazing. It has the classic Universal monsters, and a group of kids has to fight them off. One of my favorite movies as a kid. The Mist. This is so good. I need to get this on Blu-ray for sure. Frank Darabont in another Stephen King adaptation with such a dark twist at the end that went away from Stephen King's original. I think Stephen King, it was just a short story, and Frank Darabont just expanded on it and made an amazing movie. So good. Takes place in a grocery store, so I like it. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I can finally get rid of this. I have this on 4K now, but amazing movie. Roger Corman Cult Classic Collection, kind of cool. Piranha, Joe Dante, Jaws ripoff, essentially. It's good. American Psycho. This is really good. Makes me want to talk about Genesis and their music. Halloween 4 and 5. I don't have these on Blu-ray yet, so I still have this double feature DVD. Stage Fright, the director who did Cemetery Man and The Church, I think. Cool movie. Ricky O. This is not horror, but this is a gore fest. If you have not seen this movie, you need to check it out. A guy in prison who just everyone's fighting to the death, and in ridiculous ways. He strangles a guy with his own guts at one point in that movie. Check that out if you haven't seen it. Criterion Collection of Videodrome, David Cronenberg. This is a great movie. This is pretty beat up. I need a better copy of this, but this is a great release, and I have not found an upgrade for it yet. Grizzly. Jaws with Claws, as you see on the front there. 2-disc special edition. I like this. It's campy. It's great. Oh, that's a Shriek Show. I didn't realize. Anchor Bay, class of 1984. Is this horror? This is more maybe sci-fi, dystopian future, but we'll include it. Why not? Oh, Swords and Sandals Collection, Deathstalker 1 and 2, Barbarian Queen. Near Dark. Directed by Catherine Bigelow. I think she was married to James Cameron back then. 80s vampire movie. Lance Henriksen. What's her name? She was in Aliens as well. Bill Paxton. This is a great movie, super underground. I didn't know about this for a long time. Super underrated is what I meant to say. Man, Near Dark, so good. More Anchor Bay, The Hills Have Eyes. I actually prefer the remake to this, to the original. But the original's cool too. They're very similar in plot anyways, not in style. Phantasm 3, not great, but still hanging on to it for now. Okay, I have not watched this. I need to. Jeffrey Combs is in this. This was like a Dollar Tree find. Night of the Living Dead 3D reanimation. Oh, and so was this one. Blood Moon. It was a werewolf one, so I grabbed it. I have not seen this. Triple Terror Collection. This is the made-for-TV Shining, It, and Salem's Lot. All of them are good in their own right, but they're cheesy and dated by now. They were made for TV. Beastmaster. Not horror, but man, oh man, is this the best sword and sandal movie ever. Rip Torn as the cult leader tossing babies into a pit. The Keep. This is a weird one. I just recently bought this. I had to buy, this is like a German DVD release. Vinegar Syndrome just released this on 4K and Blu-ray. But this is a weird one. Michael Mann directed this and disowned it basically because the studio butchered it on him. But it's still got its pluses. I think it's, I don't know if I want to say it's a good movie, but I don't get mad about watching it. And then I hung on to this because the Nightmare on Elm Street box set with the booklet, and I believe Freddy's Dead has the 3D glasses in it still. I'll get rid of it eventually, but it's cool. That's my entire VHS collection. Pretty pitiful. I used to have a pretty amazing VHS collection, but got rid of most of them. Class of Nuke 'Em High, I guess, is kind of horror. Media release, that's cool. I always liked those. Lloyd Kaufman, Trauma. Deathstalker 3, Sword and Sandal, not really horror. David Cronenberg's Scanners, pretty great. The head explosion is pretty famous. Maybe the best head explosion on film. Night of the Scarecrow, not great, but I still have it after all these years, so there must be some reason. The Town That Dreaded Sundown, this is a cool one. Everyone knows about this. Repo Man, not horror. Extra 2, The Second Encounter, I still haven't seen this. And then Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. Alright, just forgive me. This is sci-fi. Last Starfighter is so great. A kid gets really good at a arcade game and gets recruited by an intergalactic army to be a fighter pilot for them. Aliens. Goonies, not horror, but one of my favorites. Rosemary's Baby, Roman Polanski. This is a great movie. I don't typically like movies from this era, but this one is good and it's creepy. Mom and Dad Save the World. The Star Wars trilogy, not horror, but you got to make note of this because I believe this is the best format you can watch them in their original, the original cut without the crap that George Lucas added, the CG and garbage. Sorry, people. I'm sure there's people who like that or don't mind it. It wasn't for me. Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. This is Candyman 2, I think. Yeah. Ghostbusters, more a comedy than horror, but we'll show it. Jurassic Park, also not really horror, but it was kind of scary if you were a little kid. Poltergeist, classic. Carol Ann, and Alien. Let's go over my small collection of horror video discs. What are video discs, you might ask? Well, don't worry. My very next video is going to talk all about them. I have to be honest, this is an awkward format, but they're so niche, and I like that the art is so large, so it's kind of fun to have them, despite that it's kind of a pain in the butt playing them. I do have a player for these. I'll show that in my next video. Mutant, I don't think I've seen this. Looks like 80s sci-fi, maybe? Sci-fi horror. The Fog, classic, John Carpenter. Ghost Pirates, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Atkins. This is really good, and I love that original poster art. Phantasm, The Tall Man. Great and iconic 80s horror. Mausoleum. This is a pretty cheesy one, but I love I love the font. I love the poster art. I think this got a Vinegar Syndrome release. Amityville 3D. I need to pop this in. I've never seen it. I want to see. Ooh, look at that. Look at that ghoul. I need to check this out with some standard 3D glasses and see if it actually works. I'm curious. Classic, pretty rare on VideoDisc, Lucio Fulci's Zombie, the unofficial sequel to Dawn of the Dead. Iconic Friday the 13th. Love that poster art. I actually have it hanging up right over there. Oh man, right? Oh wow. Oof. Scary. Not John Carpenter. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, The Oddball, the black sheep of the Halloween series. Tom Atkins, familiar character at this point. Those masks are so great. Halloween 2. Can you see why I'm keeping these? Poster art is so good. This is John Carpenter, I think. Isn't it? Yeah. The Boogeyman, not great, but the Vestron video, little rainbow border is so cool. Not a great movie, but hanging on to it. The Exterminator, I don't know if this is horror exactly, but pretty cool. A vigilante with a flamethrower. Godzilla 85. Also maybe considered more sci-fi, not sure. But I'll include it. There he is, look at that. Extra, super rare on VideoDisc. So happy to have this. Look at that cover art. So good. All right, that was it. My entire horror movie collection on more obscure media formats. I tried to keep this short and sweet because my previous video of the horror on Blu-ray and 4K was a pretty long one, I'll be honest. Hopefully I didn't get too long-winded on this. And if you're still here, thank you so much. My YouTube channel is still just a baby. I'm trying to do my best and learn as I go. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you. If you liked this video or you didn't, leave a comment. Let me know what I could do better or what you liked about what I'm doing. Thank you again so much. We'll see you in the next one.